think now I have done every single show intro on the entire station now. I'm not 100% positive of that, but I think so. And by the way, if you haven't figured this out, this ain't Leland. Hey, I'm Steve West. Hope everything is going well with you. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas. AJ, how about yourself? How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm too blessed to be depressed, man. I'm good.
There you go. Had a good Christmas?
Yes, for the most part I did.
Fantastic. And
yes.
Now you get to put up with us for the next 2 hours.
Oh, 3
You get to put up
hours.
with me for the next 3 hours and the entire crew for the next 2.
Buckle up, Buttercup.
That's right. Speaking of the crew here, and I'm going to say this right off the bat, so if you were tuning in looking for hard news, you're out of luck. At the request. Yeah, it's not, is it? Okay, let's get this microphone. That would be number 3 up. There we go. How's that?
Better.
Okay.
I have 4 up. My bad.
It's all right.
Understand.
Yeah.
At the request of Leland himself,
Uh-huh.
he said, "This is day after Christmas. Make it a just lighthearted entertainment roundtable." I mean, this was his suggestion, not mine. Go ahead and make it the entertainment roundtable. So for 2 hours, it'll be entertainment roundtable, and then our good friend Dustin will call in at 6 o'clock, and we'll do fastest hour in radio. It'll all be live. It's the first time we've done live on a weekday, and I don't know how long.
And it's kind of like a like old school kind of, because we got some of the old players here.
It's like a family reunion.
Yeah,
You just
and
heard Jacob.
Yeah, and then Dustin, instead of him being here,
He's going to be on the phone.
yeah, he's on the phone.
I know, it is a flashback, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So AJ on the board. We've got Jeff over here. Thank you for sticking around. It's been a long day for you.
Why, it has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Boy.
Jacob, congratulations on the new gig and welcome back. We're glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be here.
Josh, how's it going, man?
I'm here.
Had a good.
I'm actually writing down right now all the worst films of 2013, and I'm having more fun. Like my list, I couldn't come up with enough for the best, but the worst, I'm like, I can't stop.
He's only on the C's.
There's so many.
You can't name all of the movies
Right.
as being the worst.
Not
movies
every
of the
movie in
year.
2013 was that bad. Okay.
I'm up to 10. I think I should put Bolt to the Head on that list.
He's up to 10.
That's
Good
11.
night. I only did
Golly.
3, and I feel I'm an absolute. I mean, he's done 10. I only did 3. Jeff, you did how many?
I did 4, and
Okay, it's 11, and I'm done. I'm
3 of the
walking away.
4 are like least favorite and not like worst.
Right. And
Yeah,
you did how many?
I did 5. I mean, I probably could have added
are
a
like,
couple to that list.
If I could
but
kill 11 movies
Like
last
I'm
year,
shortchanging
this is what I
everybody
would
here.
This is
David's
my
on the
kill
phone.
zone.
Hey, David, how are you, man?
What's up, Steve? What's up, guys?
You ready to go on this one?
Sort of. I only saw 14 movies this year, so I've got a top 5 and a worst 5.
Oh, that ought to be interesting.
I wonder
Nice.
how many movies I actually saw.
I can't even count. I started going through, and I ended up doing this. I ended up looking up the top grossing films of 2013, and I went, saw that one, saw that one, saw that one, saw that one, saw that one,
Yeah,
saw
pretty
that one, saw
much.
that one, saw that one, saw that one. Just came up with the entire list, and I'm okay, pick that one off, pick that one off. Ryan's on the phone as well from up in Maryland. How was your Christmas, sir?
Mine was very well. Greetings and salutations, everyone. It is great to be on this show. 2 hours of electrifying entertainment roundtable. Let's cut right to the chase.
Let's do it.
Greetings and salutations. Man, we're all formal over here, aren't we?
Indeed.
Gets more elaborate every time he comes on.
Yeah, it is. We're going to save all the best stuff and worst stuff for hour number 2. Hour number 1 is going to be loaded up with what we usually do on an entertainment roundtable, kind of give you an idea of what's where, and give you some reviews of some films that we may have seen since our last show over the past weekend. We start off with our top 10 films of the week, monetarily. Thor 2 breaking $200 million this year. Made $1.3 million to eke in at number 10, $200.8 million. The Bollywood film Doom, DHOOM 3, made $3.4 million in its opening weekend. I've not even heard of this
Wait,
film.
what was the name of it?
Doom, DHOOM 3. So this is
This
the
is
third
the
one
third?
of a series of films I've never heard of.
Wait, have you seen them?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
I'm a long-time Bollywood fan.
Some of the greats.
If you haven't studied them closely, you're really missing out, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's about. A lot of kids went to go see Walking with Dinosaurs in 3D to the tune of $7.1 million. Tyler Perry's A Medea Christmas, another $8.3 million. Medea.
Yeah, Medea.
Medea.
Yes.
I'm a
I feel
Dia.
I feel properly corrected. Have you seen this?
Potato. Really?
I don't know. I'm
That's the
asking.
only black guy here. Seen Medea.
I was going to
He's
say.
the one that's over here correcting me on it.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, only reason I'm correcting you is because it's Tyler Perry's Medea.
Okay.
It's because
know.
I've seen all
And
the
then-
other ones. Why
and
would you
then-
ask me?
And here's the thing: I'm gonna ask everybody. Has
It would've
anybody seen this?
It would have been better if you'd
No.
have said you asked the only black guy. Then you're like, of course I've seen it.
I loved it. I think it
wrong
needs a
with you?
Grammy, an Oscar.
And yes, I did ask the only black guy on the
NAACP
show.
award. It needs all of that.
Oh, good grief! Anybody see this? Anybody?
No.
No,
not.
no, no.
Even though I do enjoy those movies. I think
Do you?
they're pretty
Well,
fun.
and we've talked about this. Any movie that's got Tyler Perry on the front of it, and I don't care what it's about, it's going to get a built-in audience because he has got a very loyal group of people
He
that are
does.
watching those films. Up to number 6, Hunger Games Catching Fire, $8.7 million, $371.7 million for this movie.
Good
It
night.
could take number 1 for the entire year. We'll get to that later as well.
Mm-hmm.
Saving Mr. Banks, $9.3 million, $10 million because it was actually released a little bit early in limited release and then went wide last weekend. And Jacob and I have actually had the chance to go see this.
Yep.
We'll start with Jacob.
I liked it a lot. It was very, very good. The acting is fantastic. I don't know how true it is to the actual.
Very true.
Yeah, as like I said, I don't know, but it looked pretty accurate. Yeah, but I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I mean, I just thought it was a really good movie, good solid movie. Like I say, the acting is ridiculously good. So
I think Emma Thompson, she's getting some awards buzz already on this, and I think it's well deserved. She portrays Travers very, very well. I'm kind of with you. Everything that I've read and everything that I've heard about this seems to be quite true to the actual story, except for I don't know. I haven't read much about what her reaction was the first time she actually saw the film at Grauman's Chinese
No,
Theater.
That was spot on.
Was it? Okay.
Disney nut.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, you and I well know this then.
Yep.
Disney does tend to Disneyfy things.
Yep.
And change stories up for their own benefit. And I was kind of curious as to whether they were going to do that. I will give them a lot of credit. They showed where Travers was not real happy with the idea of selling off this character and had to be really, really convinced about how to do it. It is a very good film. I don't think... I come short of saying it's a great film. I'm kind of with Jacob on this. And Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, you said last weekend this was a 7 for you?
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for Saving Mr. Banks. Yeah.
I'm kind of going to split it right down the middle. I'm going to give it a 7.5. It is certainly worth watching. I'm not so certain I'm going to own this film, but it is certainly something that is worth watching, in my opinion.
and you know, one performance in this movie I think has been underrated and a little under the radar. I mean, I think that he probably did a better job than what people are giving is Colin Farrell.
Colin
I
Farrell.
think so too.
And I
Colin
think the
Farrell is
cleanest
fantastic
role
in
I've
this.
ever seen
Yeah.
him in.
I was waiting for him to drop the F-bomb.
Oh, absolutely. I was waiting for him to, break out pistols and start cussing up a storm. But, I mean, he played very understated. And, you really bought into him as being a family man who doted on his daughters.
To the point, I wasn't even convinced it was Colin Farrell at first. I was like, wait,
Yeah, I was surprised by it too. I thought it was a lovely role for him.
yeah.
I am a Disney nut, and that is an understatement.
As you just said.
An understatement. I've read all of his biographies and studied Disney for years. Love Disney. So to me, I almost had to separate the bias as a moviegoer because I was anything with Disney in it. To me, I mean, this is the first film that ever really portrayed Disney. So I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was a great film. Way more emotional than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was going to be kind of like a fun, jolly Mary Poppins-ish kind of film, and not at all. It was a deep emotional drama.
You loved it.
So I can't believe this, but I'm actually higher than Steve. I'm going to say an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
Nice.
I thought it was a great
I
film.
was
That's
thinking a
like-
solid 4.
That's
Yeah,
like
really.
yeah.
From the guy who notoriously on this show has rated films the harshest of anybody.
And
That's
I'm
like a billion for the rest
Exactly.
of us.
The 8 from a Josh is like a 12 from Jeff.
No, he's just like throwing stars willy nilly over there.
You know, I just I really liked the film. I thought I like Tom Cruise.
You get
Tom
a ratings
Hanks.
point,
Cruise.
and you get a ratings point. Everybody gets ratings points.
It's a different Josh. It's
AJ,
my,
just because you're here,
it's my
you get a point.
happy. It's my happy twin brother. But I loved Tom Hanks' portrayal of Walt Disney. He slipped into the role where I
Oh, yeah.
completely forgot who it was that was playing it, and I thought this was Walt Disney. So I really loved it a lot. I thought Colin Farrell did a great job, and all the actors did wonderful. And the story was spot on from everything I've read about Mary Poppins, which was really one of his, looking back, crowning achievements was landing this. I mean, he literally worked on this lady for 20 years She was stubborn as all get out. So getting the rights to that was very important to him because it was a promise he made to his children. So to get that was, like he says, one of the best and crowning achievements of his career.
And one of the really cool things that they do, and stay through the credits for a little while, because when they sit down at the table, they portray this very well in the film. When they sit down at the table, she insists upon having all of these sessions with the script writers and the songwriters and everything recorded on reel-to-reel. They actually play that reel-to-reel during the credits.
She is even more cantankerous sounding than the actor in the film, which at first I'm like, there's no way she was that cantankerous.
She was that cantankerous. I mean, she had everything she wanted, and she was asking for a lot.
Yeah.
And they detail it in the film, and it is excellent.
I don't think anybody ever got Walt Disney so pinpointed like her.
Yeah. And it's just a that little scene at the end is a great example of how good Emma Thompson is in that role.
I would agree. Ryan, you were saying what?
No, I was just saying it's a really good film. It really is. I mean, the cast did a phenomenal job. It was a great story, and Tom Hanks, Emma Thompson, they pretty much slipped into their roles. They really did.
Yep, I would agree wholeheartedly. We got to take a break here, or are we good so far?
Oh, you good?
We're good? Okay, let's go top five.
I'll let you know when to go to break.
All right, just checking. Wanted to make sure. Up to the top, that was number 5. In at number 4, another movie that Jacob and I had the chance to see over the weekend. You want to talk about two films that are so very vastly different from each other. American Hustle in at number 4, 19.1 million. Another one of those deals where it came out in limited release a little early. So 20.2 million as of early Tuesday morning when all the official numbers were out. Anybody else seen this?
Oh yeah,
you saw that, Jacob and I.
I have.
Ryan,
David O. Russell nut.
Ryan.
I unfortunately have not seen it just yet, but I am going to see it this weekend, so I will remedy that situation immediately.
David,
I do want to see it, but I have not yet gotten a chance.
It's on the list, but after a couple other things, so
okay.
I probably won't see that.
AJ, anything? Have you seen anything here recently?
You know what? No, I have not.
Okay, so AJ's going to be.
Yeah, I'm just
chime
here.
in whenever you want. Okay, how's that? All right,
that sounds good.
Yeah, really, Jacob, go for it.
All right, again, fantastic movie. Loved this movie. The storyline is amazing. It's one of my favorites of the year. I just really, really enjoyed the movie. Again, another acting is fantastic. I'm ranking this one a 9 out of 10. I think it's a really solid movie, and if it deserves the award buzz it's getting.
That I would agree with.
I mean, you have to look past it's got a lot of rough language and a lot of violence and
said this
adult
about the
situations,
movie,
but it's good.
Said this about the Joseph Gordon-Levitt directorial debut, Don John. If you're going in there with sensitive ears, this is a movie that's not for you.
No.
If you walk into American Hustle with sensitive ears, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Walked out of there, felt like my ears had been raped a little bit. Gonna say that right off the bat, but if you can get past that, the plot is great. It's centered around late 1970s, and if you remember the scandal called Abscam, if not, look it up. It's real life. It's kind of based upon a real life situation. Coolest thing in the world when the whole movie opens, it opens up with one little thing up on the sign. You remember, like going at the beginning of Star Wars, it says "long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." This one just says some of these events actually happened. And I was like, okay, I'm in. I like that. That's a nice card. And it just kind of went in from there. A good mix of drama and humor. A lot of fun. You may have seen some of the costuming out there. Looks like there's going to be a whole lot of potential nudity. There's none. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
there's a lot of suggestion, but it's not really there. So I enjoyed the film. I really did.
It's further down the list now.
It was 3rd on the list. It's now 8th on the list for Jeff.
I'll get to it eventually.
I don't know as I'm going to give it a 9. I will say it is one of the better films of the year that I have seen. It just missed my top 10 favorites of the year. I'm probably going to give this about an 8, 8.5. I'll go 8.25 on this because I can't really make up my mind between 8 and 8.5. So I'll go 8.25. You've seen it?
Yes. And it's a conflicted review because expectations are a pain in the butt sometimes. And I had a lot of high expectations for it. I love David O. Russell films. I pretty much, like, him and Nolan are, like, two directors I could stop watching all other movies except theirs. The Fighter. Silver Linings Playbook is, like, my favorite movie ever made.
It's a great movie.
It's, like, it literally is the top 5 films I've ever watched. I love.
Really?
So, and that was the last film I've seen of David O. Russell. Obviously, I think it was his last film he made. And So watching this film, it's a totally different kind of movie. There's a few characters in it I didn't buy. I did think it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great film. I didn't think it was a great David O. Russell film. I thought it was a good David O. Russell film. That's a great regular film. So I didn't buy. I love Jennifer Lawrence, but I did not buy her character that much in this film.
Really?
For some reason, I just
I
thought
liked
she
her
was
in
too young and overplayed. And I didn't like what's his name, Jeremy Renner's character in the film. I thought he was too young for the character he was playing in it. He felt like, because he had like 12 kids and he's like in his 30s. I was like, how did that happen? I just didn't buy it for some reason. So the first part of the film I really liked, the first like hour, and then I felt it dragged a bit. So unfortunately, I wanted this to be like a 10 out of 10, but I think it's going to be like a 6 out of 10. It's good, still a really good, solid rating for this film. Still think there's a lot of excellent performances. I love Christian Bale in it, but I think that it didn't meet the last film David O. Russell did for me.
The physical transformation for Christian Bale in this film.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
He's such a physical actor. How do you go from like The Machinist, where you weigh like 40 pounds, to Batman, where you're buffed, and then to this film where you're fat, and it's like,
it's good stuff. It really is.
It is good stuff.
All right.
Being a psychopath helps.
We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the top 3 films of the last weekend, talk about what's coming out this weekend, and get into some movie news. And Ryan has got a bombshell that was released on Christmas Eve, and he's happy about it. He says it's the best Christmas present he's ever gotten. We'll talk about it when it's coming up next. Welcome back into Leland Live, disguised as the Entertainment Roundtable. I'm Steve West. We've got Ryan and David on the phone. We've got Josh, Jeff, Jacob. It's a whole lot of J's in the studio. I'm Steve. AJ on the board. Thank you so much for putting up with us, sir.
Anytime.
All right, here we go. Top 3 of last week. Apparently, it is just going to continue climbing the charts. Frozen, $19.6 million, $192 million for this film.
Not a bad film, not a good one.
I haven't seen it yet.
Again, artistically, it's great.
Yeah.
The storyline was
You haven't seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet.
You haven't seen Uncle Walt's?
for the Disney freak.
Well, Disney's dead, and I am more of a Pixar animation guy.
Wait a
than I am
minute.
Disney
Walt
animation.
Disney is dead?
Ryan-
Elvis too.
Ryan, what
It's
were you saying?
terrible.
What were you saying,
I
Ryan?
was saying, don't see Frozen. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I wasn't all that impressed. but,
Nothing's
hey.
drawing me to it, so
Yeah,
no pun intended.
Yep. Up to number 2, Will Ferrell, Anchorman 2, The Legend
I
Continues.
did see that.
$26.2 million, so it's made $39.5 million here. You say you've seen it, so have we. Anybody else?
No.
Are you sure he's not a midget with
okay.
a learning disability?
All right. You're throwing out the lines. Come on.
Okay, so
Start.
here this is. To me, it was like a large SNL skit of the first film. I laughed my rear off through the entire film. I'm just gonna say that. But as far as like a good movie, I don't think it was a good movie. Like the first movie, first Anchorman is a standalone good movie with really funny lines. One of the most quotable movies ever made. This movie I felt was almost like a gag reel of the first one. I mean, it's worth it if you're a huge fan of Anchorman, but if you had ever watched the first Anchorman, I don't think you'd laugh that much in this film. And if you weren't like a nut of the first Anchorman, because you wouldn't get the characters, because all the character getting is in the first film, and this is just them being ridiculous for 2 hours. So I liked it, but as far as like a movie, I didn't think it was that great of a film. But that being said, God, it is so funny.
Ultimate rating.
Maybe a 3 out of 10.
Jacob?
But hey, I like
God,
to
it's
laugh.
great. I laughed so much the entire thing. But, it sucked.
Again, remember, this is Josh, so a 3 is actually kind of
as
like a 6.
movie, it was like a gag reel of the first one. You know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I completely agree with just about everything you just said. I mean, it's so funny. I think the one of the biggest things that I think makes this not as good as the first one, it's not as quotable. I
No.
mean, there's some good quotes in there. There's some good things, most of which I can't say on the air.
Right.
Poop in your mouth.
But
I haven't seen it yet, so let's just.
That's the first one.
He's off.
I don't care.
But it's really it's funny. It just doesn't. It's not. You go into it. Don't look for a story. Don't look for good. Acting. The acting is not that great. It's
No.
just. it's just funny. I mean, it's them being stupid for 2 hours on
Yep.
the screen.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, Will Ferrell wrote it, so it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
basically him making fun of themselves. you know.
Ultimate rating?
For me, it's a 6. It's
Okay.
good. It's good. It's not something you need to rush out to see.
Very self-indulging.
Yeah.
It is funny, and I will say this. It's probably one of the funnier comedies of the year. This hasn't been a great year for comedies anyway, so it's probably one of the funnier comedies of the year, but that doesn't mean that it's a great film. It's not. This is them realizing that, number one, we haven't dealt with Ron Burgundy and all the other characters that we were so familiar with in Anchorman. It's been so long, they felt like they needed to ramp it up. Unfortunately, they kind of went over the top and off the cliff.
Yeah.
Probably the funniest scene is when they kind of recreate all the newscasters going in and doing that battle, and this time around it's in Central Park and Harrison Ford becomes a shapeshifter. I mean, it's over the top to the point where it's funny, and you get some surprise appearances by some people who you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
I was
Some people
very
who aren't
surprised.
some people who aren't even credited in the film. I
Yeah.
mean, you get Vince Vaughn who shows up, you get Jim Carrey who shows up, and there are others.
I like the ghost of Stonewall Jackson
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
from the History Channel.
But overall, I mean,
Why
I don't
you
know.
have the
I don't know what it
Minotaur?
was. Maybe it was
Not
me,
even
but
history.
Christina Applegate just didn't seem comfortable in that film. She was great in the first one, but Christina Applegate not that great in this one.
I'll
Yeah.
agree.
And the whole thing was just so over the top. It kind of became really how much more stuff can you actually throw at this?
Yeah.
There is a scene after the credits, so if you
Stick
want to
around.
stick around afterwards. Steve Carell does a nice job, very understated in that. So overall, I'm going to give it about a 5. Okay, it's funny, it's not great. It does continue the whole deal. Let's finish off the top 10 here. $31.5 million for The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, 127.6 overall. When we come back, what's coming up this week, and getting into some movie news here. When we come back, listening to Leland Live, disguised as the Entertainment Roundtable. Welcome back in, rolling on through here. Leland Live in the form of the Entertainment Roundtable here. I'm Steve West, and thank you so much for joining us. And if you are going to see a new film this weekend, you really don't have a whole lot to choose from. Labor Day stars Kate Winslet, Josh Brolin, about a kid who attempts to help his mother, who's a recluse, when he and his mother come across an escaped convict on a back-to-school shopping trip.
I think it
Sounds
looks
fascinating.
It's
okay.
we saw the preview. We saw the preview to it before one of the films, and there are parts of it that seem interesting, but this seems rife for dragging in a lot of places.
Looks like
I don't
a
know.
Nicholas Sparks film.
Could be.
Like Silver Linings Playbook.
No, that is not a Nick.
yeah.
I'm gonna throw my pen at you. You haven't
We're
even
gonna
seen it.
Start this, are we? And the other film in wide release coming out this weekend is Lone Survivor. This is Mark Wahlberg and Taylor Kitsch. Story about 4 Navy SEALs who go on a covert mission that goes very wrong. I do want to see this, despite the fact that it has Taylor Kitsch in it. I'm not a big Taylor Kitsch fan. I'm sorry. It's
No.
just not a big deal. And if you're looking for something in limited release, there's not much. Like one movie, one chance,
What movie?
one chance.
Oh, okay, there you go. I thought that was like your.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
you were
like
playing
one
up on that.
chance
Like,
to
it's
see a-
one chance.
It's your only chance to
One
understand
movie.
what is coming out in
Okay,
limited
I
release.
thought that
One
the
chance.
the Coen Brothers film was coming out in limited release.
I think it's already come out.
I think it's
Where
already come out in
is
limited
this
release.
movie? I need to watch
It's
it.
not. It's not in wide release. It's in limited release. Yeah.
Like
Wel-
extremely
Welcome to being
limited.
in Birmingham. I mean, come on. Anything on the radar for you, Ryan?
For those two films, I have actually had the opportunity to see one of them, but I can't say anything more than that until the film is released. But I will say this. Did see The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Which officially came out Christmas Day yesterday. Leonardo DiCaprio. I have to admit, this is on my radar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then I found out it's like 3 hours long, so I'm going to have to make sure I budget some time on this one.
Goodness.
Yeah, set aside some time if you're going to see The Wolf of Wall Street. Ryan, what's your opinion on it?
Well, The Wolf of Wall Street tells the story of Jordan Belfort, how he made his fortune on Wall Street, the rise and fall. More of a rise than a fall, I would say. But here's what I think. Wolf of Wall Street, not a very good film. I thought it was one of the more disappointing, if not one of the worst films of the year. I think that Martin Scorsese took the rule book of making a film, threw it out the window and said, you know what? We're going to get as many party scenes that we can possibly muster of people doing drugs, having sexual innuendos, sex scenes, whatever. Toss it into one film and have some fun with it. How about that? Well, didn't work out so well. Leo DiCaprio, I like you as an actor, buddy boy. I will always love you as an actor, but you picked a bad script, bad movie to participate in. So at the end of the day, give The Wolf of Wall Street 2 out of 10. Aside from some comedic moments, some cameo appearances, those are the only good parts of this film. The Wolf of Wall Street is one of the biggest pieces of trash I've ever seen. So I would take it, throw it in the trash can, and that's the bottom line because Ryan Matthews said so.
So in other words,
I do
Ryan,
find that interesting.
Put aside the 3 hours as well as a straight razor.
I just felt like after he spoke, a balloon should have just like let out because that's how I felt like.
Wow, that's
'Cause I was
interesting.
really looking forward to that film.
Well, and I got to admit, so what it sounds like to me is that Martin Scorsese took all the cliches that we've always heard about of the excesses of the 1980s, threw them all in there without really a whole lot of other substance. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. And the rise and fall, there really wasn't much of a fall for Jordan Belfort. I thought this guy should have fell a lot harder than he did because the ending made no sense whatsoever.
So maybe he was.
You just described a Scorsese film.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I
It-
love
it-
Scorsese films.
I bet he was very true to the source material.
You start this, I'm gonna
What is
end
the
it.
story? Is this
The guy's autobiography,
Oh.
Belfort, is based on his bio.
Oh, so he sugarcoated his own stuff, huh?
I don't know if he sugarcoated it. Apparently,
Well,
it sounds to me like
I'm
he-
mainly talking about the I'm mainly talking about the end of the film where he didn't seem like he landed all that hard, so to speak.
Gotcha.
All right, so
I'm still gonna see it.
not a big fan.
I'm gonna see it still. I love
Not a big fan.
Scorsese, so I'll
All right.
watch it because of that.
Well, let's get into some movie news here as we talk about what else happened in the world of entertainment here. And first up, Ryan, let's talk to you. You learned something about Justin Bieber, who, if you're so inclined, you can, if you want to, I don't know, if you're something of a masochist, see a concert film that's in some movie theaters right now. Ryan, you felt like this was the best Christmas present you'd ever gotten. What news about Justin Bieber have you learned?
Well, after this film is released and after his latest album is released, which I believe it already has come out, I'm not 100% sure on that, but the bottom line is this. He went onto his Twitter account, he posted that he was officially retiring from the music and entertainment industry as a whole, so thank the Lord above, we don't have to hear another word from someone named Justin Bieber, because let's face facts. He's one of the most annoying people in the world, and he's one of top 10 on everybody's list that you would want to punch in the face.
Is this confirmed?
Hold
That's
on.
not like a hack or something.
Hang on just a second, Dave. We'll get to you. What? Go ahead.
Is this not confirmed? Has this been confirmed? It's not a hack or something. The kid's at the height of his career.
No, it's confirmed. He's done.
So at the ripe old age of what, 16, 17 years old, Justin Bieber gets to retire off after buying some island out in the middle of the ocean somewhere and live out his life however he wants, I guess? I mean, this kid's made more money than anybody on the planet, it seems like.
Yep, he's pretty much done for. He actually blames the media for his him leaving.
Yes, because who are they to capture all his misbehavior?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, jerks.
Hey, Justin, just a real quick hint. You became famous. People tend to want to watch people that are famous do stuff. Just saying. David, what did you have to say?
I mean, does anyone actually believe he's going to retire?
No.
No, he'll do the massive Justin Bieber comeback tour when he turns 21.
I mean, this is like, Kevin Smith, Michael Jordan type stuff, man. He's not going to go away.
I
So
still
he's gonna
believe
go play baseball for a while.
the return of Bieber.
Are you a believer?
Never.
Well, no, he's going to go do something that he'll fail miserably at and then go back to his fangirls.
You know what's funny is I'm going to get really chastised at this table. Devil's advocate. I watched the first documentary about him, and it's actually kind of inspiring. The first part of it, like what he's become, I don't buy into. But the kid was actually, I mean, they found him on YouTube playing his music, and he's actually really talented. I mean, he used to play outside and for people, and he was discovered online because he was so good. So that part of it was actually, then he became a moron. But I really did like the first part of his story. I kind
I'm
of
not saying he's not talented.
The funny thing is as we are sitting here, Fox News is talking about this. Apparently, the Five are talking about Justin Bieber as well.
That's awesome.
But then it also says on the TV that he
I'm
tweeted,
never
I'm
leaving
never
you."
leaving you.
I'm never leaving you.
Which
then-
means I'll be back.
And then we hear Ryan jumping off a cliff.
I'm here to tell you, it's the Justin Bieber comeback tour when he turns 21.
Yep.
It'll happen. Trust me.
21. Give that about 2 weeks. We'll have
Is he that old, really? I thought he was only like 16 or 17.
No, I'm just saying it's going to happen in about 2 weeks, and he's just going to wait 2 weeks and be
Oh,
like,
okay, I
"Oh yeah,
got you.
yep, that's been long enough of my retirement. I'm coming back."
I had this really bad pre-Christmas lead up, so I just decided I was going to retire. But it's the new year, so I'm back. All right, here we go. Let's not a whole lot of stuff really to talk about here, so we'll save our superhero stuff for a minute. Kevin Costner, though, appears to be coming back into films in a big way in 2014. We've talked in the past couple of weeks about 2 films that he's appearing in, 2 action films, really. One, he's not really the central character. It's going to be the Jack Ryan shadow.
Yeah.
Person thing.
Yeah, the second word of that just totally escaped me. And what was the other film that we were talking about? Kind of looked like a cross between several different films, Ryan, including Taken?
Oh, that was 3 Days to Kill. And by the way, it's called Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Shadow Recruit. I knew that was the other one. Ryan, you've seen a trailer bringing him back into the world of sports films, which is really kind of where he's made his name. There's a film coming up called Draft Day. What's it about? When's it coming out?
Yes, sir. Kevin Costner is going to try to revive the Cleveland Browns with the expert wheeling deal. He plays the team's general manager on the day of the NFL draft. The chaotic horse trading extravaganza, a club's fortunes can be drastically rejuvenated in just one fell swoop. Not everyone's convinced that Costner's judgment is what it was. Clock starts ticking down. The pressure on our hero continues to grow even more overwhelming. It's going to be directed by Ivan Reitman, co-starring the Electra herself, Jennifer Garner, Frank Langella, and Rescue Me's own Dennis Leary. Draft Day is going to hit theaters everywhere on April the 11th of 2014.
It's kind of a dead area there. I'll probably end up checking it out. And quite frankly, Kevin Costner, the Cleveland Browns in real life could do worse than Kevin Costner, or actually they have. From one sports movie to another, Ryan, talk about $1 Million Arm.
Yes, sir. This is about a sports agent based on a true story. Stages an unconventional recruitment strategy to get talented Asian cricket players to play in Major League Baseball, starring Mad Men's own John Hamm as J.B. Bernstein, also starring Bill Paxton, Lake Bell, and Alan Arkin. It's going to hit theaters everywhere on May the 16th of 2014.
Just to let you know, so far we have yet to see either of those guys that won that contest appear in Major League Baseball. They might be in the minors, though.
Need to be a buzzkill.
Well, but they might be in the minors. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they're from what I can tell and what little I know of this, the background of this story, they're still young enough. They may be playing in the minors right now.
Actually, looks like a good movie though.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I'm
story.
interested.
Maybe something inspirational. We're not sure yet.
Yeah, it could happen.
It kind of looks like Jerry Maguire meets Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
That's the most racist
a
thing
lot
I'm
of it,
going to say all day.
It does kind of seem that way.
Away from it.
Ryan, let's get to the latest of what's going on in the Fast and Furious franchise. We talked about the death of Paul Walker earlier this month. We talked in the past couple of weeks about how they suspended filming. They've been reworking the script. Talked about that last weekend, as a matter of fact. Now we've actually gotten a new release date. What's up?
Yes, we do. Fast and Furious 7 is going to hit theaters everywhere on April the 10th, 2015. So if 2015 wasn't big already, it just got a whole lot bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, they're going to keep it so quiet as to exactly how they're going to deal with Paul Walker. But we talked about it last week. They're writing it into the script. Is that correct?
Well, a few sources are saying they're going to try to involve a scene, if not some of the footage they already have of Paul Walker's character.
Aliens. Abduction.
They abducted him.
I had heard
Is that what you're
rumors
going
that
for?
I heard rumors they were going to try to get his brother involved that looked like him.
Oh, then they're going to have to fight the aliens with their cars.
There you go.
I just suggested getting Daniel Day-Lewis to play him. I just left that open.
That'd be good for makeup,
and
wouldn't
just
it?
Walked away.
Yeah.
You know, it'll probably be like Anthony Edwards in Revenge of the Nerds 2 or something. Like they'll have him talking on Skype or something.
Yeah, it could be too. David, we're coming to you on this one. We got the second Avengers film. It's subtitled Age of Ultron. We're learning about the villain, or maybe just like the possible villain. What's the deal here?
Well, we've got some rumors coming out that Baron von Strucker is going to be involved in the Age of Ultron. He's going to be the initial threat, but he won't be throughout the whole film. He will be responsible for introducing Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch into contact with the Avengers, apparently. In the comics, he was a leader of Hydra, which is basically the evil shield. He was an ex-Nazi who augmented himself to theoretically live forever.
Theoretically. Have we heard any rumors about who might portray this, or is it just that the character may be involved in the movie?
No rumors about who's going to play him, but yeah.
Okay.
I saw some rumors, but I can't remember who they are, so I'm useless in this. So
why'd you even pipe up?
Yeah, that's
That's
what I was
a
about
good
to say. I'm like,
I don't know. I
way
just
to
haven't,
contribute.
I haven't talked in a while, and so I have to talk every.
Jacob,
It's like speed. If I don't talk someone's gonna blow up a bus.
Jacob wants to be heard.
That's right.
He has something to add.
Only if you have something substantial to add. Please.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't know there were rules.
Gruber's doing.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Back to you,
Waltz.
Ryan, here. News of X-Men Days of Future Past, and you came across some news doesn't make you very happy. Why?
Because unfortunately they have cut Anna Paquin's scene that she taped as the character known as Rogue out of the film. So Rogue/Anna Paquin will not be in X-Men Days of Future Past, despite the fact that you're going to see her in the trailers and perhaps even the posters. So unfortunately Rogue's not going to be there. That angers me. I'm sure it angers a lot of other fans out there in X-Men Nation, because you're going to get a reunion of all your former and now your new mutants, and you cut one of them out of the loop. I say, no, that ain't fair, Jack. So if you're going to make this right, you got to put in Gambit and Jubilee to replace her.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to get an extended DVD director's cut, and that's where they're going to make cash off of this.
Well, Singer's already said the sequence will probably be on the DVD, but he also updated and said that she might actually come in at a different point in the movie and be in a scene there. But let's be really honest, Paquin's Rogue never really brought anything to those X-Men movies. She's never been the character of Rogue, not as we know her in the comics, so who cares?
Yeah, I could live without her. I mean, it's fine for me. I'm not.
I'm telling you,
Ready
this
to
is they're going to make a big deal out of the
throw
release of
pitchforks.
the Blu-ray DVD on this, and it'll be the director's cut, and it'll be the extended edition with all the scenes that are being left
Right.
on the cutting
She
room
was
floor.
pretty much
Oh, yeah.
Wolverine's jewelry box. Hold my dog tag till I get back. I'll do it.
What we've gotten previously from her character in these movies is anything what's going to be in the movie. It's just going to be her like, looking sad at Iceman or like looking sad at Wolverine.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. That's
All right,
Logan.
let's do one more thing here, Ryan, before we go to break here. And a movie starring Johnny Depp, and this is a long way from Captain Jack Sparrow. Tell me about a film called Transcendence.
Yes, sir. This is about a terminally ill scientist who downloads his body into a computer itself. This grants him power beyond his wildest dreams, soon becomes unstoppable, starring the one and only Johnny Depp, Kate Mara, Morgan Freeman, who is in every movie, Rebecca Hall, Cillian Murphy, speaking of Batman, Cole Hauser, and Jarvis himself, Paul Bettany. It's going to hit theaters everywhere on April the 18th, 2014. Saw the trailer. I loved it. I'm in.
I saw the
think I
trailer
saw
to
that
it. It
Twilight
actually
Zone.
looks pretty good.
What's the name of that movie?
Transcendence. I'm sorry, what did you say, David?
I said I think I saw that Twilight Zone episode.
Well, yeah, that's possible too. But you know, it looked good. So if you haven't seen the trailer for it, look it up, and it actually looks pretty decent.
Man, the premise is incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll probably see it.
Then he meets Scarlett Johansson. They fall in love.
Just her voice.
Right.
Just the two voices. All right, when we come back, we'll make the transition from
The
movies
transcendence.
to television by going what's coming out on DVD next Tuesday or New Year's Eve. That's coming up next. Hey, welcome back in. Listening to Leland Live. I'm Steve West with the entire crew of the Entertainment Roundtable. At the boss's request, he wanted to hear an Entertainment Roundtable to wrap up the year, so he tabbed me and said, do it. Okay. I was drafted.
You're the boss.
But you know what? I'm a willing kind of a draftee in this case. Moving over from movies to television and starting to let you know what's coming out next Tuesday on Blu-ray. New Year's Eve. Nothing says New Year's Eve like getting the Joseph Gordon-Levitt directorial debut, Don John. Which
Why not?
actually was a pretty good film.
yeah, it's not bad.
I actually
never
kind
saw
of
it.
enjoyed it. And something called Ninja 2.
All these sequels and prequels we've never heard about.
Yeah, I
What was
started
the
saying,
first
where
one?
was Ninja?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
Ninja
remember the
2. Doom
first-
3?
And
Yeah,
Doom,
Doom
3?
3, exactly.
Where have we been?
I don't know.
know
Not in
either.
Bollywood.
That's true. I've been kind of avoiding it. If you are a TV series collector, then there are two of them that you might want to pick up, but one of them I've never heard of. Season 1 of Wolf Blood?
Ah, so good.
Wolfblood is the best show ever.
That and Doom 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Sounds like a back-to-back double feature for
All
me.
these great films.
Wolfblood and his sister series, Vampire Hair.
I guess.
Werewolf Breath.
Yeah.
What a great one.
And if you like Raymond Burr, you can get Volume 1 of the Perry Mason movie collection.
Must own.
Sounds like
All
a must-own.
right.
Best of the year.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much TV news that I'm going to let Jacob have the entire section.
Woo!
Because it's all one story about a Fox network show called Grace Point. Grace Point, if you don't know it, it's actually an adaptation, and we'll see the Brits adapt shows that we do and turn it into something of their own. This case, this is a show that the Brits had that we're adapting, and if you are a fan of BBC America, you may have seen the TV show Broadchurch. Grace Point is somewhat based upon Broadchurch.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Well, it looks like Nick Nolte is going to be joining the Broadchurch adaptation as a series regular. He's going to be playing Jack Reinhold, a stubborn, unmarried, willful man who has lived in Grace Point for 20 years.
So, in other words, Nick Nolte's not straying far
Right.
from his real
No.
life.
Lived here 20 years.
He's going to run a kayak rental on the beach as well as the local wildlife observation program where the murdered boy was one of his volunteers.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Now, is this going to be are they going to try to like actually adapt Broadchurch, or are they going to, is it sort of a sequel? Because I know David Tennant's in the thing.
Yeah,
I've been
David
told
Tennant's
it's an
in it.
adaptation.
Yeah. I think it's going to be pretty close to the original. I don't-
Probably, yeah. And you mentioned it, David Tennant, who starred in the original and also was one of the former Doctor Who's. He's going to be in this show. So's Breaking Bad's Anna Gunn. Jackie Weaver, who is an Oscar nominee from Silver Linings Playbook, is going to be in it. And Michael Pena is going to be in it as well. I think it's going to be worth checking out.
The original was really good. It was really good.
So you've seen it. You're in.
Yeah, I'm
So you're-
in. I'll
you're
give it a shot.
anticipating this.
It's David Tennant, so of course.
Yeah.
Very cool. Man, are we already at the break already?
Yeah.
This is hour 1 down?
Hour 1 is down.
Does this go this fast normally for you, AJ?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
I just
Barty
think,
Crouch
man,
was
this thing just like rolled by so fast I couldn't even see straight. But we do have an hour 2 coming up, and in hour number 2, we're just going to start going around the table here and asking everybody their favorite films of the year. I've got a top 10 list and an honorable mention. I've got a worst of the year. Mine's only 3. You've got like 11.
I do.
There's 4 here, 5 there. Ryan, you got a worst of?
Yes, I do.
David, anything?
I've got a top 5 and a worst 5.
We're all about it. And then we'll also talk about some television here as far as best of and worst of, too. That's hour number 2 of Leland Live / the Entertainment Roundtable coming your way right here on Superstation 101 WYDE.
Gather round your radio, it's time for Leland Live. Tell all your friends and your mom and them all about Leland Live. Just rolling along on your long way home, everything's gonna be alright. Just let it slide on the afternoon drive, time for Leland Live.
Hey, welcome back in. Rolling into hour number 2 of Leland Live on the day after Christmas. Hope everything is going well. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas, whatever it was that you did. Had a very safe one if you were on the road. And if you are yet to come back from being on the road, David, be very careful, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to start this off, and I know that this is a little bit early because we still have a lot of films that are out there that could potentially bust into this.
Yep.
But we've been watching this here over the past couple of years, and I looked at it last year. We didn't break the record of the number of films that topped $200 million. This year, we possibly could. In what I can tell, 12 films, and this has happened twice, 2010 and 2007, have made $200 million. Right now, there are 11, but there are 2 films that have the potential to jump over that, which would make it 13. Right now, your top moneymaker is Iron Man with $409 million, but coming up quickly is Hunger Games Catching Fire, sitting at $373.9 right now. Iron Man in the end, or is it Hunger Games? Josh?
I'm going to say Hunger Games.
Jeff?
If I go see it, Hunger Games, I'll push it right over the top.
You'll be that last.
Jacob?
Well, I mean, I think Hunger Games still has a few weeks left or so. So, yeah, I'm saying Hunger Games.
David, any thoughts?
It'll probably be Hunger Games, but just barely.
Ryan?
Hunger Games all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the sweep on this one. AJ, you got an opinion on it?
Medea.
Iron Man.
Oh, he's not going to make it the clean sweep.
Wait, who said Medea? Was that Jacob?
Jeff, trying to be funny.
It's not Medea, it's Medea.
I know. That's why I said Medea.
I don't know. I think it'll be close though. I think it's going to be real close. It'll be like $413 to $409 million, but it'll be close. I didn't realize Despicable Me 2 has made $367.5 million.
Papoy.
It's a great
It's
film.
a great film, but that's a lot of money.
I didn't realize it made that much.
We should all be in the cartoon.
That's
business.
amazing to me. Then you drop down to Man of Steel, $291 million. Monsters U made $268.4. Gravity in there. It's still climbing because there are some theaters that are still showing it, but I don't think it's even got enough gas at this point in time to jump over Monsters University, $253.6. Fast and Furious 6, $238.6. Oz the Great and Powerful.
Surprised that made the list.
It's in the list,
It's on one of my
$234.9.
lists.
It's yeah, we'll talk about it later. Star Trek Into Darkness, $228.7 million, and World War Z just eked over $200 million, 202.3. We just talked about it earlier on. Thor is now officially over 200 million, 200.8. Frozen is right after that, and Frozen currently has made 192. So those pretty much are guaranteed there. The number one film of this past week is The Hobbit, 127.6. It depends on how quickly it starts to fall off, though. $31.5 million. It's got a pretty decent chance of making $200 million.
How much did the first Hobbit do?
I don't have that number in front of me, to be real honest with you.
It's got to have crossed over 2.
I'm sure it did.
I'm fairly certain
I
that it
did
did.
250. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but this one doesn't look like it's got quite the power that the first one did. Although I've said this, I think it was a slightly better, not by leaps and bounds
No,
again.
I'm with you.
But I think it was a slightly better film than the first one. You actually have seen this.
Yeah, I got to see it. I actually went to see it in the high frame rate.
Finally, okay.
Oh, obnoxious.
Your thoughts, real quick, on this? Is it a better film, or do you agree with us, or do you disagree?
I liked it better than the first one, and the only reason I do is because I finally said, you know what, Jackson, he's going to indulge. So I'm on the Jackson indulgence bandwagon. So knowing that he's pulling the insane ramblings of Tolkien from later in life into this, yeah, sure, it was better. It was much more propulsive, a lot more action, and moved at a much brisker pace. So it was more fun. And Cumberbatch was just
Oh yeah,
awesome, fantastic.
That right there made it worth it. As soon as he opened his mouth to speak as Smaug, I was just like, yeah, that's it.
So
I would go back to see it for that, just to hear his voice.
So I give Peter Jackson's The Hobbit 2, The Ring Rises again, like a 7.5 out of 10. Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I asked this question before: which one was going to make more money in the end, Hunger Games or Iron Man? Does The Hobbit break $200 million, Josh?
What's that, 120 right now?
It's just shy of 130.
And it's in its second week?
Easy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to cross over.
Easy.
Easy.
I think it's going to be like 220 or something.
Did, are we saying crossing 200 before the end of 2013, or just
when it's all said and done?
Oh yeah, it'll make 200.
AJ, what do you think?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I'm trying to bring you in on this, man. You're too quiet over there. David?
I don't know. I think maybe it will fall short.
Nah.
No.
Come on.
Ryan? Ryan?
No.
With so many movies that are out right now, I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to say it's going to make under 200 million.
See, I'm trying to figure out whether there's going to be anything that's really going to come out and knock it off of the pedestal of people. I mean, it's kind of in a world all by itself. I mean, I know that there are a lot of films that are coming out, but there's nothing that's Hobbit-ish out there. I don't see anything that's going to really knock it off before and again, I don't think it's going to make way over $200 million, but I think it'll cross it barely.
Yeah, I think it'll hit 200. I just wanted to make the short joke.
We're just now getting it. That's one of those ones that takes time.
Got it.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Good one, David.
Shout out.
Good grief. I'm going to ask the question just because you're there, AJ. Do you have a list of top films of the year for you?
I really haven't been to the movies this year, to be honest.
You've only seen a couple of films.
Yeah. What movie have I seen this year? I've seen Superman.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, I guess that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was really it.
That was it?
All right, so if you were to rank that movie, the best movie you've seen, what would it be?
I said that was a pretty good movie. I'm still kind of upset about. I mean, I know there might be some people who haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to give anything away. But the whole relationship between Superman and Lois, that still kind of frustrates me a little bit. Other than that, what? No, that was DVD. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I really haven't.
I don't know if it was a film that you saw this year that came out this year. Even if you did see it on DVD, you can rank it.
Yeah, well, I saw Star Trek
Into the Darkness.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Was it better than Man of Steel? In your opinion?
In my opinion, no.
No. Okay, so
I
you
don't
rank
think
Man of
so.
Steel higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I give it. I rank Man of Steel 1, Star Trek 2.
There you go. See, we got his ranking to begin
The
with.
best and worst film.
There we go.
We have AJ's best and worst, and see, that's how it's done. Let's head to the phones right here. We'll start with Dave. Dave, you have a best of and a worst of, and it's like each of them are 5.
This is going to get controversial, I know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's half the fun of this roundtable, isn't it?
Exactly.
All right, David, where are you going?
All right, I'm going to start off with the worst 5.
Oh, he's going bad news first. Okay.
News bears.
Go for it.
All right. Let's see. I think number 5 is the Wolverine.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't remember what I actually gave it on any of these ratings because I'm far away from the Dave Cave. I don't have my files at hand, but
That's okay.
The Family.
In number 4, okay.
Yep. This Is the End.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible movie.
I thought, who was it that said that they liked that?
I liked it.
Was
I had a good time.
And you,
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got it confused with another one. I haven't seen This Is the End
I
yet.
thought I had a good time at This Is the End. I
this
like
this
Simon
was the
Cowell.
one where the kind of the real life story of them thinking that the world was coming to an end. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
No, this is the one.
Seth Rogen.
Oh wait, no, I just
Yeah, this is the
confused
Seth
it.
Rogen picture.
I was thinking
Okay.
The World's End.
Yeah,
you're right.
See,
This
that's
is
what
the end.
I was
was
confusing the two at the beginning.
Stupidest thing
Okay.
ever.
All right. So this is the end. Okay. So that's number 3 of worst. Okay. Number 2.
Oz the Great and Powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
sucks.
And your worst film of 2013.
A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III.
I'd never even heard of that film.
Yeah,
I
that's-
haven't either. Tell me about
It's
this
like
film.
Doom 3 and Ninja 2.
Oh, it doesn't matter what you've seen. This is the worst movie of the year.
Well, let's put it this way. I haven't seen anything about this film, so tell me about it.
This is a Ramona Coppola film. It's
Ah.
got Bill Murray and Charlie Sheen in it.
Oh my
Bill
word.
Murray was brilliant, of course, but the whole movie was about this like aging graphic designer, Charlie Sheen, who's just running around sleeping with lots of women, and he goes into little like imaginary interludes.
So in other
Really?
words, basically he pulled his character from 2.5 Men and put it in the movies.
I was going to say they must have used a lot of found footage.
Yeah, it was amazing. Somehow they captured all of his drug-induced hallucinations and put them in a movie. It was really awful.
So it's a
And they tried to be really, really artsy about it, like a Wes Anderson film.
It's a Charlie Sheen documentary about his basically real life with Bill Murray thrown in it for dramatic purposes.
Yeah, I guess so. But it
Good
was
grief.
it was
And
terrible.
what's the name of this thing again?
A Glimpse Inside the Mind of Charles Swan III.
All right. Well, on that note, what's your best 5 of the year?
All right, number 5, Hunger Games: Catching Fire.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of ranked lowly because I do think it kind of retreaded the first one a little too much, and didn't really have an ending,
Okay.
obviously.
Well, yeah, it's got another 2 movies coming
Trilogy.
out. But okay, go ahead.
David.
Yeah, I usually like to. I mean, I understand that. I usually
I
like
know,
to,
yeah.
like, you know, and things like that. I like to rate the saga more or less. But as a standalone movie, yeah, but it was still top 5. Number 4, Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
They just kind of underutilized Christopher Eccleston, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Number 3, The World's End.
And this was the one with Simon Pegg. This was kind of like the trilogy of Simon Pegg,
Such a good movie.
Pegg
I
films.
love that film.
I have yet
Yeah.
to see it, but I can't wait to see it. It's good.
Number 2 was Pacific Rim,
Okay.
for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
And
You raved about it.
number 1 was Iron Man 3.
Wow.
Okay, then. Very, very
Lost in-
interesting.
Lost in the Ether, in the mediocre is Man of Steel, Kick-Ass 2, which was actually better than Man of Steel.
I get the funny feeling the gentleman I'm going to go to next might have something to say about that, but move on.
And A Good Day to Die Hard was Lost in the Ether. Honorable mentions for all of those, but
Okay. All right.
And Star Trek Into Darkness can just kind of go away. But
Well, AJ agrees with you. It was his worst film of the year of the 2 that he's seen. Ryan, we're going to split you up here because we're coming up on a break. I think Dave has set us a little mark here. I'm going to flip that mark when it comes to Josh because his worst list is longer than his best list. But Ryan, give us your worst list, and then we'll take our break. And when we come back, we'll get your best of the year. What's your worst of 2013?
Well, actually, I have 3 lists. I have a best of, a worst of, and a disappointing list. I'll go with worst. Worst films of the year that I've seen: The Wolf of Wall Street and The Lone Ranger rank as the worst films of the year for me.
Okay. Okay, we'll go disappointing, and then we'll take a break.
Okay, disappointing films of the year. I'll go with Broken City, A Good Day to Die Hard, Now You See Me, The Wolverine, Elysium, Paranoia, Prisoners, Don John, Thor 2, The Dark World, and The Fifth Estate.
The Fifth Estate.
He was not,
That did suck. That was the one with about Snowden, I guess.
No, it was
about his
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Oh, yeah. Now
Had
I
a Benedict
remember it.
Cumberbatch in it, too, but
Yeah.
I heard it was
Yeah.
just a weak film.
Of the films that he was in this year, I didn't hear very much good about it. All right, well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll figure out what Ryan's top of the year is. That's right here. You're listening to Leland Live / the Entertainment Roundtable, Superstation 101, WIDE. Hey. Welcome back in, listening to Leland Live / the Entertainment Roundtable. Kind of getting the best of and the worst of 2013. We've heard from Dave. We've heard most of Ryan's. We've heard his worst and his most disappointing. What's your best of the year? And is this in no particular order, or do you have an order on this, Ryan?
Yes, I do have an order. This is based on films I thought that not only were really good, but had great stories, great characters, and films I can see myself watching multiple times on Blu-ray or DVD.
I look forward to it. What is it?
Yes, sir. I do have 2 honorable mentions. We'll get to those in a moment. Coming in at number 10, Marvel takes the 10th spot with Marvel's Iron Man 3. Coming in at number 9, you have Star Trek Into Darkness. Oh, my goodness. Action-packed. And Benedict Cumberbatch, you have a bright future in films, my friend. Coming in at number 8, the scariest film I've seen in decades, known as The Conjuring. Great stuff. Coming in at lucky number 7, you have Pacific Rim. Robots versus monsters. What more can anyone ask? Coming in at number 6, you have the Ron Howard film known as Rush. And if you've not seen it, go out and see it. And here we go, top 5, the mecca of all meccas here, boys. Coming in at number 5, World War Z with Brad Pitt. Number 4, Gravity. It will take you in outer space for 2 hours. You actually feel like you're on a space flight. It's incredible. Coming in at number 3, to honor the great Paul Walker, Fast and Furious 6 is number 3 on my list. And coming in at number 2, you have one of the best sequels in modern times, The Hunger Games Catching Fire. Oh, my goodness, what a film that was. And coming in at number 1, everyone feared that this would be a failure, a piece of junk, but it is anything but. The greatest superhero of all time returns in his best film ever made. Superman, Man of Steel, is number 1 on my list.
Okay, interesting way
This
of
is
looking
gonna
at it.
get controversial.
It is going to get real. It is going to get a little interesting because we've already heard from one person who said Man of Steel. Not that well. AJ said it was his best, but then again, that's out of 2. Dave, you weren't impressed.
It rested gently within the non-mentionables in my top 5 and my worst, between my top 5 and my worst 5. Just
All
right in between.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you on that. It's middle of the pack for me.
All right, and that brings us to the man who I'm going to flip the script on. I want you to give me your best of before you give me your
Okay.
worst of here.
Okay.
Best of from Josh.
These are in somewhat particular order. Number 10, American Hustle.
Okay.
Number 9, At World's End. Number 8 is A Place Beyond the Pines. I thought that was a really good one.
Okay.
Number 7 is Pac Rim. Number 6, 42. Number 5, Star Trek Into Darkness. Number 4, Rush. Number 3, Saving Mr. Banks. Number 2, Hunger Games Catching Fire. And number 1, Gravity.
Gravity. Okay. All right. How many films do you have in your worst of?
I have 11, and I had to stop because it was growing.
And you could have gone further.
He didn't really stop. I took the pen from his hand.
Exactly.
Did you quit writing?
I had more. Like the funny thing is, writing 10 of my favorite films this year was hard. Like I kept thinking, like, man, what other films came out this year? But when I started writing the worst of, it just started coming to me. It was like
Jeff made
it
the
was
joke about it before we
inspiration.
actually came on the air in the 4 o'clock hour. He made the joke about I got to see.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, it's just, it's not finished, but it's 11. Like if you want me to keep going, it would be bad. But
The sum of the worst list.
Yes. Okay.
just the ones I can think of.
Okay, let's give us the ones that you can think of, and it doesn't matter what order because
Yeah.
I've got a question that I'm going to follow up with.
So you want me to go through all of them?
Just go through them. Right?
Okay, Pain and Gain, number 1.
I've heard many bad things about that film.
Number
yes.
2, Elysium.
Okay.
Number 3, Oz.
Great and powerful. Okay.
Number 4, White House Down. That should have been on my 1 because that was such a sucky film. It's not even funny. Number 5, Burt Wonderstone. The Amazing Burt Wonderstone with
Okay.
Steve Carell in it.
Yeah.
Number 6, Gangster Squad.
I haven't seen that one.
That was just
Bad.
terrible.
Okay.
When Sean Penn has a line that says, "Here comes Santa Claus" as a gangster,
That's pretty
pretty
rough.
pretty sad.
Wow.
So after Gangster Squad, number 7, Superman, Man of Steel.
So far, you're kind of outnumbered here, Ryan, but that's okay. Moving on.
Number 8, After Earth.
Okay.
Number 9.
Most people are in agreement with that.
The
I think.
Host, which I'm ashamed of actually seen.
The Host.
It's from the girl that wrote the Twilight series.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a failure.
Consistent.
I watched that in a dollar theater. It was the only thing playing. Number
you
10,
went anyway.
R.I.P.D.
Okay.
And number 11, which could have also been number 1, was Bullet to the Head.
See, that was what I was about to ask. What is your ultimate worst film out of that list?
To be Bullet to the Head.
Okay, why?
Because it was just so laughably bad.
Yeah?
It was just...
This was Sly Stallone, correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, it was Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, no.
That was Escape Plan.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry, Escape Plan. What was Bullet to the Head?
That's what
that is
Schwarzenegger.
that was
and-
another
No,
one.
I'm sorry, Stallone and
I meant to put
Jason
Escape
Momoa.
Plan down there. That's
yeah,
what I
Jason
meant.
Momoa.
Yeah, I meant to put Escape Plan down there. That's the
Yeah.
one I thought was
And
just
I got to
gross.
admit,
Bullet
if
to the Head was
I had
terrible, too.
expanded out my worst of list, I think Escape Plan would have made it. I only did 3,
12.
but yeah, I think I think I probably would have included Escape Plan in there. And it's not the fact that it's an interesting idea for a plot.
Yep.
But they fell into way too many 80s cliches.
Oh, my
and
God.
Jim Caviezel, who is a decent actor,
Yes, he is.
was walking through this like a plank of wood.
Yep.
And then
He wasn't nailed to it.
and then the way that they wrapped it up.
That's wrong.
I mean, I'm
Done
sorry.
there.
The last 15 minutes of that film just took it right off into the netherworld. It was just so bad.
Gosh, it was terrible.
It was so
I mean,
bad.
I was in the theater saying like, no, they're
Yeah.
not. Oh, yes, they are.
Yeah.
That and I mean, White House Down to me was like that bad. I mean, I liked Olympus Has Fallen, but White House Down was so laughably bad. The fact that they're like driving around the White House lawn and the president is driving the vehicle and they're shooting bazookas at it. I'm just like, literally, Leeds County, and I like Leeds, could have done a better job protecting the White House than all of the FBI, the CIA. I mean, like, it was like the smallest little county in Alabama could have done a better job protecting the President of the United States.
But it's a
than-
Roland Emmerich film, right? So
Yeah.
what do you expect, really?
I liked The
Kind of like
Patriot. I
kind of like
liked-
Michael Bay. And
I
all the
liked
explosions and
Independence Day. These were both great films.
they were
Great
films.
is understatement, but and they were films.
They were not.
They
the
were not.
worst films
they were
I've
the
ever
worst
But
seen.
films
no,
of their
I
years.
liked The Patriot. I think that was a good movie.
Godzilla was fantastic.
Godzilla.
Really?
That's a joke.
I was like, I'm not with you.
No. Matthew Broderick is going, no.
So I know Ryan is probably offended at me for putting Superman, Man of Steel on there,
I
but
don't
that was
think you're going to be the last one to
the
do that.
biggest disappointment of this entire year, and I think that the Oscar should go for best trailer to them. Because and I forgot I need an honorary mention, and I don't know which category to put it into. If it's in my top 10 favorite or worst, it's literally in somewhere in between, and that would be Sharknado. I love Sharknado.
But that's TV.
Yeah, I know. I just needed to throw it in there.
They did.
It did have a theatrical. I had a limited
That's
theatrical.
true. It did. Yeah, you're right.
See,
But it's really much
technically.
more known for their
Thanks
for
for
the TV
saving
side
my
of
butt
things.
there.
All right, Jeff, you're going to be up next. We're going to end up splitting you.
Okay.
You want to do best or worst first?
Let's go ahead and do worst.
Worst for Jeff for 2013.
And most of these are just very mediocre. Sharing the number 5 are both World War Z and Oblivion because they're equally flat mediocre. Doing it, number 4, Mama. Number 3, G.I. Joe, Retaliation. Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters at number 2. And the absolute worst film I've seen this year and in many years, Riddick. God, if that movie had a face, I would punch it
And we were
until
looking-
it wet itself.
we were looking so forward to going to see that, and then we went and we were like, what the
Oh,
heck
I still
is
haven't seen it.
this?
don't bother.
Don't waste your time, man. Seriously, do
gonna have
not.
to.
You will hate yourself.
Do not
The
waste
more
your
you
time
say
on this.
I shouldn't, the more I want to see it.
Trust me. I'm your friend.
We'll give you counseling during the break, Dave. We got to take the break right now on the Entertainment Roundtable here at Superstation 101 WID. Welcome back in. Rolling on towards 6 o'clock here. We've got 2.5 more best of and worst of lists here because, Jeff, you've given us the worst.
And the worst, I mean, I could have just went through 5 and put Riddick in all of them, but that wouldn't be really fair.
I would agree. Let's flip the script here.
Okay.
What's the best of?
All right, I've got 10. That's not really in any particular order until the top 3 or so.
okay.
But I've got Only God Forgives,
Okay.
Wow.
Pacific Rim, Iron Man 3, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug,
Smaug.
then The World's End, the ending of the Cornetto trilogy, Thor: The Dark World, Man of Steel is in my top 10. Then the top 3, which are in order. 3 is Your Next, sort of a horror/comedy.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that film.
Really good.
I didn't
really
see
great.
it, but I remember when it came out. Yeah.
Then number 2, Captain Phillips, and my favorite movie of the year was Gravity.
Okay.
Can I get a few honorable mentions?
Please.
John Dies at the End, Upstream Color, The Conjuring, The Wolverine Extended Edition, and the Evil Dead remake.
You liked it that much?
Because I'm
Enough to
Graham.
give it at least an honorable mention on the
Exactly.
good side.
I'm with you all on most of those, except for Man of Steel and Only God Forgives. Like Only God Forgives was so stupid I could not even get.
It wasn't stupid.
It was like an '80s
Greeks,
Chinese
the debate's just
samurai
so whacked
movie.
out.
That's just weird because
All right.
samurai are Japanese.
That
But
sounds stupid.
All right, here we go. Wait a second.
you're
I can
stupid.
actually make a nice little transition right here because before we get to Jacob on the phone, Chris is on a cell. He wants to talk about some samurai. You've seen 47 Ronin?
Yes, I went today. I sure did.
All right. Well, tell me about Keanu Reeves as a samurai.
Well, he's probably the weakest link of the film, and that's
There's a shock.
not surprising to anybody in the round table. But I guess I'd give it a B-. It was kind of draggy at the beginning, but the part at the end where they actually lay siege to they actually invade the castle of the bad guy, that was pretty solid. That was pretty outstanding.
Okay. So overall, a B-, which probably in our ratings would be like about a 6, 6.5.
Yeah, probably something like that. Like I said, I certainly don't feel like I was cheated. It's not one of those things where it's like I was entertained. I didn't feel like I want my money back or anything. So it was just, the one thing they had was at the end. They said that talked about that it was inspired by. It gave a brief paragraph about the 47 Ronin in history and said this film is inspired by their story. And I punched my buddy and said, except we jazzed it up a bit because I really don't think there were dragons and ogres and beasties in the original.
Yes, it was inspired very loosely on a true story. All right, very cool. Chris, I
wanna
appreciate you
see
calling
it.
in, man.
Because it looks so cheesy. The lines that say in there, like Keanu Reeves' lines, like "We are 47."
47 Wonin.
Yeah. Then come and get it.
I think we have
Yeah,
He
exactly.
says that. That's a line in the film when she's like, "You don't know who you're messing with" or whatever, and he's like, "Then come and get it."
Yeah.
I'm like, you suck.
I think we have a new bar for where to set how we should rank our movies. Did it make you want to riot afterwards? No? Okay, good. It's not-
I
it's not
wanted to
bad.
riot after I red boxed Only God Forgives. I'm just gonna say
That's
that.
just ignorant.
It's just Ryan Reynolds for hours.
I'll tell you what, you two,
staring.
we'll set up we're going to sell tickets to this. We'll set up a square circle out there in the
Slap
parking
fight.
lot, and we'll just let the two of you just go at each other over
Bum,
Only
bum,
God
bum,
Forgives, okay?
bum.
I think it's Ryan Gosling. Too.
Jacob, you're up. Worst of or best of? Which one do you want to go?
We can go bottom 5.
All right, bottom 5. Go in the bottom feeders first.
Yeah, and mine are in no particular order, so this is just a 5 in random order of what I think are the worst 5.
Oh, okay.
Number 5 is Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
After Earth. Terrible
Will Smith
movie.
and his son.
God, it was so bad. Moral Instruments, City of Bones. Just really just a mix of a bunch of movies that are just really terrible. G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just none of the characters had any life or connection to their characters their source material. So terrible.
Yeah.
And Elysium is on that list for me.
Is there one that stands out to you as the worst?
Oh, Riddick is easily the worst.
Okay.
Hands down the worst.
I want to see it now. It sounds so terrible.
It's just so bad.
It is. It's so bad and cheesy. It's almost worth seeing. But there's a part of me that really wants to tell you
Don't see it.
I mean,
because you'll be done
They're
at
so
the end
bad
of it,
it's
and you'll be
good.
like, "That's 2 hours of my life
And
that
there's
I'll
just-
never get back."
they're just bad.
Honorable,
It is. It's so bad.
honorable
haven't seen this
mention for
thing
my
now.
bottom 5.
Honorable mention for the bottom 5.
Bottom
yes.
5 is Turbo. And the only reason it's not ranked in my bottom 5 is because I didn't sit through the whole movie. I slept through most of it. So
That's okay.
it's quite distracting here in the studio.
So it was really more of an incomplete than a worst of.
Right. So, yeah, that's my bottom 5.
I got you. All right, so let's move on to your top of the year.
Top 10, again, in no particular order. 42,
Okay.
great movie. Loved all of the actors in that one. Star Trek Into Darkness, tons of action, good movie. Benedict Cumberbatch is fantastic. Pacific Rim, again, Ryan said it right. robots versus monsters. It's good.
Can't lose.
Yeah, and that was my complaint about the movie going into it, and it was. You're right. That's all you need.
We could do it together.
Had that connection going there, man.
Yeah. Next in is The World's End. Hilarious. Probably one of the only good comedies this year.
Okay.
Easily the best. Captain Phillips, Tom Hanks, is fantastic. Especially for the last 15 minutes of that movie. It's worth going to see. Ender's Game, really loved that movie. It was good. I thought it was really, really good. Then I put American Hustle in there. I loved that movie.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's fantastic. Gravity, really good. I had some problems with it, but mostly really liked it. Thor: The Dark World, to me, that was the best Marvel film of the year, but that's just my opinion. And then I ended the top 10 with Hunger Games: Catching Fire.
Okay. Is there one that sticks out as the top film of the year for you?
Gravity.
I'd probably say
Gravity.
For me, it's
Yeah,
not
I'm with
Gravity. It's Captain Phillips for me.
Huh, okay. Gravity number 2, right?
Probably about 4
2.
or 5 for me.
0.5. It's 0.5. It's even before 1.
No, it's not. No.
Keep pushing there, man. While we talk to Charles up in Huntsville, wants to check in on Superman. What you thinking, Charles?
Yeah, I hear where you guys sound a little bit divided on Man of Steel. And my question is, I came up in the 80s when I have this blind devotion to Christopher Reeve and Superman 1 and 2. Is Man of Steel better than, or is it close or better than the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve?
Visually, it is miles better than it. Storyline, it's that's kind of a toss-up for me. I think the storyline in the original Christopher Reeve Superman was fantastic, and Superman 2 actually stands up as far as some sequels are concerned. I would say it's pretty close. But I will tell you this, and this is one of the reasons why some of us are having a hard time putting it on our best of list, and I'm speaking only for me.
We hate good things.
It tends to kind of play a little bit too much with the Superman mythos that we're so familiar with.
I will say this. I will say this about Man of Steel. At least they didn't have a saran wrap S symbol.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right about
that's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
despite I know there was some, how you want to say, with the Christopher Reeve movie, it was kind of limited on special effects. But I've always thought the story was going to be hard to top it.
yeah. Yeah. And I don't think this one quite comes up to that, but it's not bad. It's pretty good for the Superman pantheon overall.
Okay.
All right.
I think Man of Steel.
Thank you, Charles. Go ahead,
And
Dave.
as far as Man of Steel is concerned, compared to the Christopher Reeve, well, I mean, and I guess I'll just throw in the Brandon Routh from Bryan Singer because it was kind of in that
Please don't.
continuity.
Please don't.
It was far and away better than Man of Steel. Man of Steel was far and away better than Superman Returns, but
Oh yeah.
and far and away better than 4 and probably 3.
Yeah, 4
And didn't
Superman
and
4
never
was
hit
horrible.
those ridiculous strides like some of the hammy Gene Hackman greatest criminal mind of this or any other time. But story really wasn't that much better though,
Otisburg.
and it was just so gray and bleak. I got tired of seeing Superman the hobo.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
My biggest peeve with it was just the fact that
It was awesome.
that the commercial really it advertised, it promised this kind of this coming of age kind of film where this guy discovers his powers, this rough, real kind of world, and it wasn't that way. I mean, we had 30 minutes of
That was the entire movie.
cheesy
is him
visual
figuring
effects
out
in Krypton, and
No, that was half the movie. The other half of the movie was trying to destroy Metropolis.
and it promised this epic emotional journey that was like the Dark Knight or one of the Batman films.
I was looking
it
for
didn't
Lee
promise
Daniels the
that.
Butler, but with Superman.
Only God forgives.
And I
meets-
still ask this, and I've asked this about a couple of different films. Most notably, Marvel's The Avengers, the first one.
Yep.
And then Superman Returns. What's the damage bill? Has anybody actually come up with an estimate on how much it would cost to fix New York City or Metropolis after all this was said and done?
I don't know.
They actually did that, and it's like in the billions.
Yeah.
I have to believe that.
Yeah, they
tore down like half the city.
Yeah, they did an estimate after the whole Marvel's the Avengers, and somebody actually did a calculation of how much that actually cost, and it's in the
It'd have to be
billions.
It'd have to be
So much
because the
construction.
damage is worse than what Katrina did to New Orleans. It's
in the comic
amazing.
books,
You mean
they actually have an insurance
Say
policy
that.
for superheroes battling in the city.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like they have superhero insurance or something.
And they also have the crew.
Wow,
the guys
that
who come
insurance
behind to
company
clean up.
went broke in a hurry.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do half of my list, and we're coming up on a break pretty quick, so I'm going to give my worst of the year, and it's just top 5, and I've actually made it 5 now because of the fact that I added 2 films. I was inspired. Coming in at number 5, Escape Plan. In at number 4 was Frozen. Again, artistically, it's great. The storyline just drags it down. In at number 3, Riddick. In at number 2, but I have to give the caveat of kind of like Jacob, I fell asleep in the film, but that just kind of tells you Turbo, not that good of a film. Here's the deal. Turbo, if you are unfamiliar with this film, it's about a snail who gets superpowers who ends up entering the Indianapolis 500.
Yeah.
AJ, what am I doing next hour?
The fastest hour.
Which is all about
NASCAR.
racing.
Racing, okay. Racing.
This snail makes it to the pinnacle of racing in the United States of America, the Indianapolis 500. I fell asleep. That's where I fell asleep in the film, as he enters the race. That should tell you how bad that is. And in at number 1, I'm sorry, I just flat abhorred this film. Matt Damon and Jodie Foster should be ashamed of Elysium.
Yep.
That thing was just junk.
No,
had,
it wasn't.
It had
And it
visually
starts
good
off-
elements, but it was
It
junk.
starts off with the dumbest thing the most unexplainable thing that I can't figure out. The people that are on Earth all speak with Spanish accents, and the people that are up on Elysium all speak with French accents.
They don't,
What?
They speak French and Spanish. They don't speak with accents.
Well, that's true too. They can't keep the accents up. That's the
Matt
that's
Damon
the other
never
part
spoke
about
with a
it.
Spanish accent. He spoke Spanish, but he never had an accent.
It's
Never.
just bad.
I just watched it last night.
It's horrible.
It's not.
It's bad.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's really not.
Oh,
It is.
I'm going to have to see this now. I'm going to
No,
have
it's
to see
bad.
this now.
Don't
just
waste your
to-
money.
It's terrible, but there is a couple points that are entertaining. I will say
No,
that.
there's not.
The whole world they created up in the sky is pretty cool to explore.
Oh, the effects are fantastic.
And the concept is a cool concept.
Yeah,
It just was
visually,
poorly
it's
executed.
visually, it's a good film. The storyline and everything else for me is just absolutely horrible. But then again, that's my list, not yours.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, I'm the host of the show, so I can
That's
actually
true.
order your microphone to be turned off.
You can.
When we come back, I'll give you my top 10 of the year and an honorable mention. Here we go. Time running out here quickly. It's amazing how 2 hours fly by when you're having a good time. Maybe a little too good for some people in here. Just saying. Here we go. My personal top 10 of the year, and I'm going to start off with the honorable mention. And I say this because it was kind of like we've seen a couple of these films this year. Jacob and I went to go see this, but it was unfinished at the time. Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom.
That was on my honorable mentions, but I left it off.
Yeah, I can't. I haven't seen the finished product, so I don't know for certain that it holds up. But it's a very good film, and it does show some of the warts of Nelson Mandela, in addition to trying to kind of boost him up. It is a good film, though. It's right now. Our friends at Amstar and Alabaster have it. So if you'd like to go see it, let me know. In at number 10, really enjoyed the movie Ender's Game. Coming in at number 9, Thor: The Dark World. I liked it, but there was something I think I was wanting something else or something a little more out of it. In at number 8, Pacific Rim. Up to number 7, Star Trek Into Darkness. Do me a favor, cut their 2 microphones off. Thank you, I appreciate that. In at number 7, Star Trek Into Darkness. Number 6, Iron Man 3. Put Hobbit: Desolation of Smaug in at number 5, mainly on the thought of Benedict Cumberbatch. I mean, just the way that his presence brought the dragon to life. It was just great. I really, really enjoyed it. In at number 4, I liked it so much I actually bought it as soon as it came out on DVD. Despicable Me 2.
I liked it a
really,
lot.
really good film. In at number 3, I cannot wait for this to come out on DVD so I can watch it again. Rush. And again, if you have not seen this film,
So
it is
good.
certainly worth watching. Up to number 2, Gravity. What? Just that short for me of coming into number 1. I mean, this could be really technically 1A and 1B. Hunger Games Catching Fire. Because what they did with the first film and to be able to step it up, and again, not by leaps and bounds, but they were able to make even a slightly better film for me for Catching Fire.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was real good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was it Francis Lawrence, the director
so
of that?
close.
It was.
I love what he did with that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but he's going to be back for film
Yes.
for the Mockingjay doubleheader?
Yes, he is. And
Wait.
as far as honorable mentions go, I want to throw Saving Mr. Banks in there on honorable mentions, as well as Top
Very
Gun
good,
IMAX
yeah.
3D back in February. That was good.
That's true, too. You never saw the original Top Gun in the movie theater because you were too young, like
Yeah.
not born.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I never saw it either.
I
saw it
actually, I kind of wanted to see it in 3D, but it only lasted a week, and I'd forget what was going on, but I was somewhere that was unavailable.
Yeah, the Hunger Games, man, so good, that second one. I literally I read the third book, Catching Fire, just
They
because
all
I was
die.
so inspired.
Mockingjay.
Everyone dies.
Mockingjay, yes, sorry.
Yes.
Because I was so inspired from the second film, and
There
it's
you go.
good. I can't wait to see what they do with the next two.
All right, Ryan,
They
you
all
and
die.
me real quick on this one because most of these other guys, and I don't know whether you've come up with anything TV.
My favorite series this year, Hannibal.
Hannibal?
Love Hannibal.
Jacob?
My favorite series is not a new one, but I'd say Arrow.
Arrow?
I mean,
And yeah, it can be returning. That's fine. I
Season
got no
2
problem
is
with that.
Breaking
ramped
Bad
it up a
ended
lot.
strong.
Okay. And it worst of for you?
Sleepy Hollow, I'm just kind of hanging on. It's kind of a tie between Sleepy Hollow and S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of hoping S.H.I.E.L.D. gets better.
Okay. This could be returning, just saying.
Gotcha.
So, okay, Jacob?
Worst now?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Michael J. Fox show. It was really bad.
That's interesting.
I mean, the only shows I've seen this year have been Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead, which I love. Both of those.
So you got a
What
best
about
of and no worst of?
No, no worst of. But what about TV, like movie series? Because I loved Hatfields and McCoys. I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. And the Bible was very, very well
Oh,
done.
yes, in the Bible. I watched that too.
Ryan, real quick, and we're going to kind of limit this here to kind of like 3 because time is running out on us quick. Best of and worst of for TV for you.
Well, worst shows of the year, I can't really say there is a worst because I only watch good shows, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go with best of. Best shows of the year, I got to go with James Spader owning The Blacklist. That is by far best new series we've seen in decades. Number 2, I would say shows that have grown. These are returning shows. Arrow is owning superhero TV space, phenomenally good, introducing so many new characters. It's incredible. And number 3, I'd probably go with a show that's been growing a lot. It's been changing the game a little bit, and it's getting better. Person of Interest. I love that series.
Okay. I do have a worst in TV this year because I sat down and watched as many of the premieres as I could stomach. In at number 3, Trophy Wife.
I never even heard of that one.
In at number 2, Mom. In at number 1, Dads.
I know you so well, Mr. West.
Hated that show. Could not stand it.
So wives, moms, and dads.
Yeah,
Out.
pretty much. All 3 of those shows were horrible. As far as my best is concerned, and I did put these in order, in at number 3, great show. You mentioned it, Ryan, The Blacklist. In at number 2, I actually put A&E's Longmire. I am addicted to that show. It's a great show. And the number 1 show on TV for me is Arrow. Fantastic show. Absolutely great.
They're doing a good job with it.
That they are. Welcome to wrapping up 2013. 2014 comes up on us real fast. Ryan, looking forward to seeing you and talking to you again about it. Dave, looking forward to having you back in studio, my friends.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Josh, thank you for coming in, man.
No worries, dude.
And Jeff, thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
having such a long day. We'll see each other here in like 12 hours.
We will.
Jacob, thank you so much.
No problem.
Glad
Glad
you
to
could be a
here.
part of it. Hopefully
Yeah.
you can be more of a part of it here in the very near future. AJ, thank you for sticking around and putting up with something that you don't really know a whole lot about because the fastest hour in radio is coming up next.